Queen Zilara sat on her silver throne, but she looked more like a statue than a ruler. Her eyes were empty, her golden crown rested on her head, but her heart was heavy. It had been 6 months since her daughter, Princess Arryn, was declared dead. In the human-alien war, the grand hall was quiet. The soft hum of floating lights echoed against the high stone walls. Servants walked carefully, afraid to speak too loud. No music played, no smiles were seen. The palace had lost its light, just like the queen had lost her child. Princess Arryn was not only her daughter, she was her heir, strong, brave, and kind. She had led a mission to a distant war zone, trying to make peace between humans and the alien empire. But her ship was ambushed, destroyed in deep space. All that was found was a burned escape pod. The body was missing, but after weeks of searching, the royal court declared her dead. A royal funeral was held. A silver casket with no body. Thousands of aliens from across the empire came to mourn. Tall stone statues of Arryn were built in every city. The people wept, the stars dimmed, and Queen Zilara changed. Once known for her warmth and wisdom, the queen now spoke little. Her voice had turned cold. She ruled like ice. She no longer trusted her advisors. She no longer smiled. Every morning she visited the statue of Arryn in the palace garden. The statue showed Arryn in her war armor, her hand stretched forward like she was reaching for peace. Queen Zilara would stand there in silence, holding the memory of her daughter close, but deep inside something felt unfinished. No body, she once whispered to herself. No goodbye. One evening, in the dark silence of the palace, something strange happened. A royal signal operator working in the old communication tower picked up a weak transmission. The signal was faint, coming from the edge of the galaxy. An old royal code, one that had not been used in months. The operator's hand shook. He cleaned the signal and listened closely. This is Arryn alive, returning, not alone. The words were broken, filled with static, but they were real. He ran down the long hallway to the palace guard. Soon, a group of royal guards stood outside the queen's chamber. Your Majesty, the captain said, kneeling. We received a message. Queen Zilara slowly turned her head. From whom? She asked, her voice low and sharp. It carries your daughter's old command code, the guard said carefully. The queen stood up fast. For the first time in months, her eyes lit up, not with joy, but with sharp focus. Is this a trick? She asked. We believe it is real, he said. The signal was tracked. A ship is approaching the outer gate. Zilara's heart raced. Is she alone? The guard looked nervous. No, Your Majesty, she is not. Queen Zilara narrowed her eyes. Then who is with her? He took a deep breath. A human, Your Majesty. For a moment, no one moved. The queen's fingers tightened around the armrest of her throne. Her daughter, long believed dead, alive, and returning with a human, an enemy. Queen Zilara stood tall on the viewing platform as the massive gate of her star palace opened. Guards lined the path, weapons ready. Above them, war drones hovered silently. No one trusted the moment. It felt impossible. Her daughter, Princess Arryn, had been gone for 6 long months, declared dead in the fire of war. Now a small ship slowly landed inside the royal docking bay. Its metal sides were scratched and dented. The engines hissed. Steam poured out from the undercarriage as the door began to lower. Everyone held their breath. A figure stepped out. She was thin, tired, and wore torn armor that once held the royal symbol. Her hair was shorter, her face older, but her eyes, those were the same. It was Arryn. The queen gasped quietly, one hand over her heart. Her legs almost gave way, but it was who came next that froze the guards. A human soldier stepped beside Arryn. He was tall, with a scar across his cheek and a calm, steady walk. His clothes were patched, and his weapon was lowered. He looked around carefully, aware of every eye staring at him. Most shocking of all, Arryn was holding his hand. Gasps echoed through the room. Guards raised their weapons, Some shouted warnings. Stand. Down! The Queen's voice rang out, sharp and cold. Everyone obeyed instantly. The Queen stepped forward, her long robe sweeping the floor behind her. Aaron, she said, her voice trembling. Is it really you? Aaron nodded, her voice soft but strong. Mother, I'm home. Solara took a slow breath. Her daughter was alive, flesh and blood. But questions filled her mind. How? She whispered. We searched everywhere. We found your pod. I escaped, Aaron said. But I was wounded. I would have died if he hadn't saved me. She turned slightly toward the human soldier beside her. Solara's eyes narrowed. Who is he? The human stepped forward and bowed slightly. My name is Lieutenant Connor Hale. I was part of the Earth forces during the war. I found Princess Aaron wounded. I chose to protect her. You are our enemy, one guard hissed. Connor didn't flinch. Not to her. Aaron stepped forward quickly, still holding his hand. He saved me, over and over again. He gave me food. He fought off wild beasts. He carried me through poison swamps. I owe him my life. The Queen looked torn. Emotion battled, with fear and pride. And why are you still with him? She asked slowly. Aaron looked down, then back up. Her voice was clear. Because he never left me. Not once. Not even when your ships bombed the valley where we hid. Not even when I told him who I was. The Queen's jaw tightened. Do you trust him? With my life. Silence fell. Then, one of the high counselors stepped forward. Your Majesty, he said quietly, this may be a trap. The human may be using her to get inside our defenses. Connor raised his hands. I gave her every chance to leave me. She didn't. Queen Solara raised a hand to stop the voices. Enough, she said. Take them both to the inner palace. The guards hesitated. Now, she said, with power in her voice. As Aaron and Connor followed the guards, the Queen stood alone. Her daughter was alive, but she had returned with the one thing no one expected. Human, and that meant the war wasn't over, it was just changing. Open the gate, Solara ordered. I will see this myself. Princess Aaron sat in the crystal room, her hands resting on the smooth glass table. The alien guard stood behind her, quiet and alert. Across from her sat Queen Solara, her mother, but also the ruler who now had to decide what to do with a human guest. The air was heavy. No one spoke. Connor Hale stood beside Aaron, silent but watchful. His eyes moved carefully from one corner to the next, tracking every guard's movement. He had been in enemy rooms before. This one just happened to be royal. Finally, Queen Solara broke the silence. Start from the beginning. Aaron looked into her mother's eyes. They were sharp and cold, so different from before the war. I escaped the crash, Aaron said slowly. My pod landed in a forest on the dark side of planet Kiros. I had a broken leg and a bad head wound. I tried to crawl for shelter, but I passed out. She took a deep breath and looked at Connor. When I woke up, he was carrying me. Queen. Solara's gaze shifted to Connor. Why? She asked him directly. Why save your enemy? Connor answered calmly. I didn't see an enemy. I saw someone bleeding, scared and alone. War or not, I wasn't going to leave her behind. She is the heir to my empire, Solara said sharply. You knew who she was? I figured it out after a few days, he replied. She never bragged, never ordered me. She just survived, Aaron continued. We spent weeks in the wild. The forest was full of predators. Acid rain, poison bugs, and even human troops searching for survivors. We hid together. We ate roots, hunted with sticks. And we talked. Queen Solara raised a brow. Talked. Yes, Aaron said. We talked about everything. Why the war started, what we were taught, what we believed, and how much of it was lies. Solara's eyes narrowed. Lies. Connor stepped in. We were told your people were monsters. You were told the same about us. And then I saw, Aaron added, that he was nothing like they said. And maybe I wasn't either. There was a pause. The Queen leaned back, her face unreadable. Aaron took a deep breath. Her voice lowered. Mother. Someone wanted me dead. Not the humans. Someone from our side. The Queen's expression changed slightly. Still calm, but colder. What do you mean? Aaron pulled a small metal chip from her belt and placed it on the table. Connor added, "We found it inside a wrecked drone. It held a message, coded, sent from your inner circle. It ordered the fleet to bomb the area where Aaron's pod was expected to land." Zalara stared at the chip, her hand frozen near her crown. This is a serious claim," she said. Slowly. "It's the truth," Aaron said. "Someone wanted to silence me because I wanted peace, because I didn't hate the humans." Connor nodded. "She risked her life to stop the war, and someone close to you tried to bury that." The Queen sat still, thinking. The betrayal in her daughter's words was like a knife. Her advisors had told her Aaron's pod was lost. They had pushed for a quick funeral. They had urged more war, more fire, more blood. And now her daughter stood before her with the enemy's hand in hers, and the truth in her eyes. "Why return?" Zalara asked softly. "You could have stayed hidden, you could have started a new life. Why come back here?" Aaron looked her straight in the eye. "Because I'm not running from the truth, and I'm not letting them win." Zalara looked at Connor again. He stood tall, unshaken. "You know what your presence here means?" she asked him. "Yes," he replied. "Death, maybe, but she trusted me with her life. I'll stand by her, even here." For the first time, Queen Zalara looked unsure. Her daughter was alive. Her daughter had grown. And the war was no longer about borders or blood. It was about truth, and who would dare face it. Queen Zalara stood alone in her private chamber. The walls were made of glowing crystal, but they offered no comfort. She stared at the small metal chip Aaron had given her. It sat on her desk, quiet and deadly, holding a message that could break her empire. Someone from her inner circle had tried to kill her daughter. The Queen clenched her fists. Her people had trusted her to lead, to protect, but now she felt like a blind ruler in a dark storm. How deep did the betrayal go? A soft knock at the door broke the silence. "Enter," Zalara said sharply. General Solon stepped in, tall, strong. Loyal, or so she thought. He bowed. "Your Majesty, the people are asking questions. Is it true? Princess Aaron has returned?" "Yes," Zalara said coldly. "And she brought a human with her." Solon's face twitched just for a moment. "That is dangerous. She says someone from our council tried to kill her, ordered a strike on her pod after it crashed." Solon's tone remained calm, but his eyes darkened. "That is a serious claim. Perhaps the human fed her lies." "She gave me proof," Zalara said, turning to face him. "A chip with a direct order. It came from inside our walls." "Then we must find out who sent it," Solon replied quickly. Zalara nodded slowly. "We will." But in her mind, a memory flashed. Months ago, Solon had pushed for Aaron's death to be accepted quickly. He told her, "No point in wasting resources searching the wreck. The war needs your strength now, not your sorrow." Now that advice tasted like poison. She watched him closely. "Tell the council I'll speak with them tomorrow. No one leaves the palace tonight." Solon bowed again. "As you command." But as he left the room, his jaw was tight, and his steps were faster than usual. That night, Aaron sat in her old bedroom. Everything looked the same. The soft blue walls, the glowing orbs, her favorite chair by the window. But she didn't feel the same. Connor stood at the window, watching the royal courtyard below. Guards marched, drones hovered. Trouble was coming. "I don't trust that, General," Connor said quietly. Aaron nodded. "Me neither. My mother is strong. But the Empire is full of shadows." Connor turned to her. "Do you think your mother believes you?" "I think she wants to," Aaron said. "But wanting the truth and accepting it are not the same." A sudden beep echoed from the wall. A secret message flashed on Aaron's old communication screen. It wasn't from her mother. It wasn't from any official channel. She opened it. Words appeared. "They know. You're both in danger. Leave before the night ends." A friend, Connor, moved fast. We need to go, now. But before they could pack, an explosion rocked the tower. The walls shook, the lights flickered. Smoke began to fill the hallway. Guards shouted outside. Laser blasts fired in the distance. Erin grabbed a small energy blade from her drawer. We're not running. We're fighting. Connor smiled, pulling out his plasma pistol. That's more like you. Down in the war room, Queen Zalara watched a screen showing the attack. Masked soldiers had entered the East Tower, the one where Erin and the humans stayed. Her heart dropped. This is a coup, she whispered. A royal advisor beside her nodded, panicking. It's General Solon. His forces are trying to seize power. Zalara stood tall. Call all loyal forces, lock the palace down, and get me to my daughter. Meanwhile, Erin and Connor fought their way through the hallway. Smoke stung their eyes. The masked soldiers were fast and deadly, but Erin was faster. She flipped over a fallen table and stabbed a soldier's weapon, disabling it. Connor knocked another enemy down with a blast. We can't fight forever, Connor said. We need an exit. But before they could move, more enemies came from both sides. They were surrounded. Erin gritted her teeth, standing back to back. With Connor. Then we fight to the last breath. But just as the soldiers moved in, a door slammed open, and Queen Zalara appeared, surrounded by royal guards. Step away from my daughter, she roared. Laser fire exploded in the hall. The Queen had come to fight. Laser fire lit up the royal corridor, as Queen Zalara stepped forward with a glowing energy staff in her hand. Behind her, royal guards unleashed controlled blasts, striking down the rebel soldiers who had surrounded her daughter. Erin ducked as one beam flew just over her shoulder. She looked up. Her mother was leading the fight. Mother, she shouted. Zalara's face was like steel. Stay down, Erin. I'll handle this. Connor fired back, covering the guards. He pulled Erin behind a pillar. Your mom fights like a queen and a warlord. She used to train me herself, Erin said, breathing hard. Now I remember why I never won. The last masked soldier tried to escape, but Zalara's energy staff slammed into him, cracking his chest plate. He dropped to the ground, groaning in pain. Silence filled the hallway. Smoke floated in the air. The queen turned to her daughter. Are you hurt? She asked. No, Erin said, rising, but someone wanted me dead. Again. Zalara nodded. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with fire. General Solon has betrayed us. Connor stepped closer. He sent the strike team? Zalara's jaw tightened. Yes, and worse, he's locked the palace down from the command tower. I have guards outside the walls, but they can't get in. He's trying to take over from the inside. Erin frowned. Why now? Because you returned, her mother said softly. And you brought the truth with you. Connor looked between them. What do we do? The queen turned sharply. We take back my empire. Together. In the royal control room, General Solon watched a screen showing the failed attack. His lips curled into a snarl. They survived, his officer said nervously. Solon smashed the console with his fist. Then we do this the hard way. He activated the palace-wide speaker system. This is General Solon. His voice boomed through the palace. Queen Zalara has lost her mind. She is protecting an enemy soldier. The princess is compromised. I, as High Commander, will now take control. All over the palace, confused guards paused. Some obeyed, others stood still. Solon turned to his private guards. Find the queen. Bring her to me. Alive, if possible. Back in the tower, Erin stood by a hidden passage with her mother and Connor. There's a way through the old air tunnels, she said. They lead to the command tower. I used to sneak out through them. You used to sneak out? The queen asked, raising an eyebrow. Erin shrugged. You were always busy ruling. I had to find fun somewhere. They climbed into the tight tunnel, crawling through old vents, wires, and metal paths. It was dark and hot. Every sound echoed. Suddenly, Connor froze. Stop! I hear something. Footsteps. Guards were below them, searching the halls. Erin whispered, We stay low and silent. As they passed over a thin vent, Erin heard the guards speaking. General Solon says the human is controlling the princess with mind tech. Another. Guard replied, You believe that? I don't know, but if she's still alive, maybe the queen lied to all of us. Aaron's heart ached. Lies, rumors. She had returned to bring peace, and now it was tearing everything apart. Finally, the tunnel opened near the top of the command tower. They dropped down quietly into a dark storage room. Connor peered through a slit in the door. Command centers across the hall. 4 guards, all Solon's men. Solara looked at her daughter. We'll have to move fast. Aaron nodded. 1 shot each. No second chances. Solara stepped out first, quick as lightning. Her energy staff slammed into the first guard. Aaron followed, flipping over a table and disarming another. Connor hit the last 2 with stun blasts before they could sound the alarm. The command center door slid open. Solon stood there, waiting. He had a blaster in one hand and a data stick. The other. Impressive, he said calmly. But you're too late. He raised the data stick. I've sent your army a false message. It says the queen has been captured and the empire now belongs to me. Zalara's eyes flared. You traitor, Solon smiled. No, I'm a patriot. I won't let our people fall under the spell of peace and weakness. I did what had to be done. You tried to kill your own princess, Connor shouted. She was a threat, Solon said. She still is. Solara raised her staff. Solon fired. So did she. The blasts met in midair. Queen Zalara's energy beam crashed into Solon's blaster shot. The 2 lights exploded between them, throwing sparks across the command center. Connor dove behind a console, pulling Aaron down with him. He's stronger than I thought. He's desperate, Aaron said. Desperate people make mistakes. Solon charged forward, swinging a heavy metal rod. Solara blocked him with her staff. Sparks flew as metal hit energy. Their weapons clashed again and again. Queen against general, mother against betrayer. You were like a son to me, Solara shouted as they fought. And you were a weak queen, Solon growled. You let your heart blind your rule. You tried to murder my daughter, she snapped, striking him across the chest. I'll never forgive you. Solon stumbled back, smoke rising from his armor. He pulled a small device from his belt and slammed it into the floor. A shockwave burst out. The lights went dark. Emergency red lights blinked on. Alarms rang. I've locked the control systems, Solon said with a sick grin. The palace will think I'm still in charge. Your guards outside will never get in. He jumped through a side door as the blast door slammed shut behind him. Coward, Aaron shouted. Solara placed a hand on the wall. He sealed us. In the upper tower. Connor looked around. There's got to be another way out. No, Solara said. But there is a way to turn the signal off, inside the throne room. That's where the main beacon lies. Then let's go, Aaron said, pulling out her blade. They moved quickly, using hidden queen's passages to reach the main hall. Along the way, they passed signs of war. Broken walls, stunned guards, frightened servants hiding behind pillars. Aaron paused beside one servant, an old woman she knew since childhood. Stay low. The queen is still fighting. The woman touched Aaron's hand. We never gave up hope. The throne room doors loomed ahead, tall, golden, and now scorched with blast marks. They pushed through. Inside, General Solon stood before the royal beacon, a tall crystal tower connected to every signal post in the empire. He held a device in his hand, fingers hovering over a red button. One push, he said coldly, and I erased the queen's voice. From the empire forever. Solara stepped forward. You don't want peace, you want control. I want strength, Solon shouted. And I won't share it with humans. He pointed his blaster at Connor. Go ahead, Connor said. Shoot me, but it won't stop the truth. The people know Aaron's alive. They'll follow her. I'll raise her again, Solon screamed, charging forward. The room exploded into battle. Solon fired wildly. Aaron leapt to the side, spinning under his shots. Solara moved like fire, her staff flashing with energy. Connor shot the blaster from Solon's hand. The weapon clattered across the floor. Solon roared and tackled Aaron. They rolled across the throne room floor, fists flying, blades flashing. Still weak, Solon hissed. Aren punched him hard. Not anymore. She dodged his next swing and drove her blade deep into his armor. Solon froze. He looked down. Blue light poured from the wound. He fell to his knees. It was always you, he said softly. You were the threat I feared. Then he collapsed, still and silent. The beacon flickered behind them. Solara stepped forward and placed her hand on the control crystal. The lights changed from red to blue. Across the Empire, every screen lit up with her face. This is your queen, she said. The rebellion is over, the traitor has fallen. And my daughter, your Princess Aren, has returned. She lives, she is strong, and she brings peace. Connor stood beside Aren as the throne room calmed. It's over, he whispered. Aren looked at the throne, her mother's place, her future. No, she said. It's just beginning. The throne room was quiet now. The battle was over. Queen Solara stood tall, her eyes full of both pride and sorrow. Her daughter, Aren, stood beside her, holding the blade she had used to defeat the traitor Solon. Connor watched them both, feeling the weight of everything they had been through. Solara turned to Aren. You have done what no one else could. You returned from death and saved our empire. Aren smiled, but inside she felt a storm. She was not just a princess anymore. She was a symbol, a bridge between two worlds. Her heart was torn. The humans who raised her taught her how to fight and survive, and her own alien people who needed her to lead. Aren looked at the stars through the giant window. Mother, she said softly, I have lived with humans, I have learned from them, but my blood is alien. My home is here. Solara nodded slowly. You carry both worlds inside you. That is our greatest strength. But it is also my greatest challenge, Aren said. The Empire fears change. Many will never accept the human inside me. Connor stepped forward. Then show them your strength. Show them that peace is stronger than war. Suddenly, alarms blared. The palace guards rushed in. Threat detected, one said. An unknown ship is entering the system. Zalara's eyes narrowed. Prepare for battle. Aren gripped her blade tightly. Is the war truly over? Connor looked at the darkening sky. Maybe this is just the beginning. Outside the palace, a strange ship appeared. Sleek and unlike anything they had seen before. A voice came over the palace comms. This is Commander Rylan of the Human Defense Fleet. We come in peace. Aren's heart skipped a beat. She had been waiting for this moment. Contact with the human fleet again. Solara turned to her daughter. The humans want peace. We must decide if we will accept it. Aren stepped forward, her voice steady. We must build a new future. One where humans and aliens stand together. Connor smiled. It's time to unite two worlds. Days passed. Aren worked with her mother and the human leaders. She spoke to the people, sharing stories of courage, sacrifice, and hope. Slowly, fear turned into trust. The alien empire began to heal. One evening, Aren stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons shone brightly. Connor joined her. You have changed everything, he said quietly. Aren looked at him. We changed everything. She smiled, feeling hope fill her heart. The war was over. A new star was rising, and this time it would shine for all.